Revealed. The incredible $30 million secret I kept hidden while my daughter embraced her life-changing dreams. Jane's heart raced as she stared at the cluttered countertop of the diner where she worked, a cup of coffee still steaming in front of her. She never knew her father's legacy was hiding in plain sight. $30 million, enough to change everything. Yet it felt like a weight crushing her spirit. The thought gnawed at her, twisting her gut, a mixture of disbelief and fear that seeped into her very bones. How could she have not known? And more importantly, what would this revelation mean for her precious daughter, Lily? Every morning, Jane dragged herself to the diner, her worn shoes echoing against the hardwood floor. The place was a hub of chit-chat and laughter, filled with regulars who had become like family. Everyone knew her name and, more importantly, knew her struggle. As a waitress, Jane poured her heart into every cup of coffee she served. But her true passion was nurturing her bright, ambitious daughter. At 17, Lily was the light of her life, dreaming of attending college and breaking free from the cycle of poverty that had engulfed their small Ohio town. But Jane watched from the sidelines as the world dealt Lily harsh hands. The latest scholarship rejection had brought tears to her daughter's eyes. A raw heartbreak Jane could feel deep in her own chest. "Mom, I just don't understand," Lily had said, shaking with disappointment. Jane wanted to scream, to tell her that maybe, just maybe, there was a way out. Yet the fear of unveiling the trust fund seemed like a chasm that could separate them forever, turning the bond forged by struggle into one of resentment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days went on, and the town buzzed with talk about an accident involving Mr. Thompson, the beloved high school teacher known for his warm smile and infectious laughter. The community gathered, hearts heavy, and Jane and Lily felt compelled to step up, helping gain support for his recovery. Their involvement allowed them to forget their own pains, channeling them into service and solidarity. Yet, even in moments of laughter shared over bake sales and fundraisers, Jane's internal battle loomed large. The air crackled with tension as scholarship applications became due. The day of the critical interview arrived, and it was then Jane knew the truth must come out. Just as she prepared to share her secret with Lily, the town erupted in whispers. Someone had learned of the trust fund. Suddenly, Jane found herself thrust into the spotlight, facing judgments and heartbreak looming like storm clouds overhead, threatening to tear apart everything they had built together. Now, as they stood at the precipice of change, Jane faced the most critical choice of her life. Would this revelation be their saving grace or their downfall? In that moment, with the whispers swirling, Jane knew their identities would never be the same. But would love endure in a world that deemed success in dollars and cents? The last glance she gave Lily was filled with unspoken hopes, complexity, and fear. What would happen next? Dreams. The sun peeked through the diner's windows, casting stripes of light across the worn linoleum floor. Jane's mind raced as she wiped down the already clean counter, her heart pounding like thunder in her chest. Every tick of the clock felt like an impending storm, a reminder that the truth could no longer hide in the shadows. How could she reveal to Lily that the path to her dreams lay not in rejection but in money she never knew existed? Lily entered the diner, her eyes bright and hopeful but shadowed by the weight of disappointment. The brief smiles shared between them felt fragile, as if they were both teetering on a cliff's edge. "Mom, are we still volunteering with Mr. Thompson's fund today?" she asked, her voice laced with determination. The kindness in Lily's heart was undeniable, and it pierced Jane's soul like an arrow, making her heart ache. "Of course, honey," Jane replied, finding comfort in the routine despite the tempest swirling in her mind. "Let us show our support." As they left the diner, Jane felt the excitement radiating from her daughter. They arrived at the community center, buzzing with activity. People were crafting posters, assembling baskets, and readying themselves for the big fundraiser. Laughter echoed, a sweet reminder of the power of community. Yet, amidst the joy, Jane felt her stomach churn, anxious about the inevitable conversation waiting for her later. The afternoon flew by, filled with laughter and warmth. Still, Jane's thoughts lingered on the impending decision. Each ring of her phone made her heart skip as she worried it could be someone from the town, perhaps another reminder of the whispers surrounding her secret. Lily's face glowed as she interacted with their neighbors, her passion evident as she discussed plans for a scholarship gala. "Mom, can you believe some of the donations we're getting? This is going to be huge." The pride in her daughter's voice was like a balm to Jane's restless heart. But guilt washed over her like a tidal wave. Was it fair to let Lily fight so fiercely for funds when money, potentially theirs, sat untouched? Anxiety knotted in Jane's chest, tightening with every cheer that rang from the crowd. As the sun dipped low, the fundraiser reached its crescendo. After the final donation was announced, Jane felt the gentle push of time urging her to act. She watched as Lily thanked the supporters, the brightness of her spirit shimmering under the glow of community kindness. In that moment, Jane realized she couldn't keep hiding. She wanted her daughter to soar, but first, she had to lay bare the truth that could either build or destroy that dream. Dread settled in her stomach like a stone as she approached Lily. "Honey, can we talk about something important?" Lily turned, her face softening into a smile. "Sure, Mom. What's on your mind?" Jane took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every choice they had made until this point. "It's about your dad and a secret I never wanted to keep from you." The words hung in the air, a fragile thread connecting the past to a future she hoped they could embrace together. But before she could continue, a sudden commotion drew their attention. Jane's breath caught in her throat as a figure approached them, someone from their past. Someone who might just complicate everything. "Jane. Lily. I've been looking for you." The world around her blurred, her heart pounding like a drum. Who was this person and what did they want? The truth felt more fragile than ever, balancing between the hope of a new beginning and the chaos of unresolved histories. What was coming next could change everything, and Jane could hardly breathe. The figure stepped closer, and Jane's breath, already shallow, hitched in her throat. The last person she wanted to see was standing right in front of her. Tim. Her ex-husband. The man whose absence had shaped their lives, and now his return threatened to unravel everything. "Tim," Jane managed, her voice barely a whisper. "Hello, Jane." "And Lily, wow, you've grown so much," he said, a blend of nostalgia and awkwardness in his tone. He clasped his hands together, tense but attempting a smile. Lily looked between them, confusion dancing in her bright eyes. "Dad? Is that really you?" "Yeah, kiddo. It's me," Tim replied, his gaze softening as he took a step toward her. "I've missed you both." Jane's heart raced. This was not how she'd envisioned this moment unfolding. The weight of the secret she held felt enormous. Yet here stood the man she'd shielded her daughter from, the bearer of truths left unspoken for far too long. "What are you doing here, Tim?" "I came back to town for a while and thought it was time to reach out," he said, the bravado wavering slightly. "I know things have been rough and I want to make things right." "Make things right?" Jane's voice was sharp. There was a bitterness that clawed at her heart, memories flooding in of promises made and broken. "You don't just come back after years and expect everything to be okay." Lily's small hand tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mom, maybe he wants to help?" "Help?" Jane echoed incredulously. "You think he can just help after abandoning us?" Tim held up his hands in a pleading gesture. "I know I can't fix the past, but maybe I can help build the future." Jane's body stiffened. This man had turned their lives upside down and now stood here, speaking as if it were all that simple. The sky darkened outside, adding gravity to the atmosphere. She could feel the storm brewing not just outside but within her. Lily's expression shifted from confusion to disappointment as she processed the tension simmering in the air. "Mom, what is he talking about? What future?" Jane felt her throat tighten. The urge to shield her daughter was instinctual, yet the words hung heavy in the air like a pendulum, ready to drop. If she explained, revealed everything, what would it do to the fragile boyish ideal Lily had held of her father? "Lily," Jane began, searching for the right words. "There's so much we need to talk about. About your dad, about the money." "Money?" Tim blurted, a flicker of anger crossing his face. "What money?" Jane's heart raced. Was it right to bring it up now? But with Tim there, that knowledge felt more like a ticking bomb than a secret. "The trust. The money that was set aside for you." Lily's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and curiosity. "What trust?" The air grew thick with tension as Tim's expression morphed from confusion to frustration. What are you talking about? You've always kept everything from me. Why should I believe anything you say now? A wave of uncertainty crashed over Jane. It wasn't just about revealing the truth. It was about facing her fear that this revelation could tear her family apart. So much has changed, Jane murmured, her voice shaking, caught between her desire to protect and the urgent need to come clean. Lily looked back and forth between them, desperation brewing in her young face. Mom, please. I want to know the truth. And with those words, everything hung in the balance. The storm outside rattled the windows, mirroring the tempest brewing in Jane's heart. Could she really lay it all bare? Was the truth worth the risk of further shattering their fragile family bonds? But the truth couldn't be withheld forever. Okay, Jane said, taking a deep breath. But you both need to be prepared. As she watched the confusion deepen in Lily's eyes and uncertainty linger over Tim's expression, Jane wondered, could this moment be the beginning of healing? Or would it unravel everything they had built? The truth was about to be unleashed, and Jane felt the ground shift beneath her. Truth, she whispered, her heart drumming like a warning bell. Lily looked back at her with wide eyes, the innocent curiosity dancing at the edges of her young face. Mom, what do you mean? What's the money? Is it for me? Tim stepped a little closer, his expression now a mix of interest and skepticism. What did you do? Do I get any of this money? It's complicated, Jane said, taking a shaky breath. The money, it was part of a trust set up after you left. I never wanted you to know about it. I thought it would only hurt more. What are you talking about? Tim's voice rose slightly, echoing the desperation that was creeping into the room. You think keeping me in the dark was the solution? Lily deserves to know everything, and so do I. Right? Lily chimed in, her confusion morphing into a plea for clarity. Mom, please don't keep us in the dark. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows like the tumult of emotions swelling inside. Jane had never intended for this conversation to happen in front of Lily. The last couple of years had been filled with careful lies and protective fabrications to shield her from the reality of her father's departure. I should have told you years ago, Jane admitted, feeling the weight of each word. You were so little. I thought it would be easier to keep you safe from the truth. Tim, you weren't there to help me, and I didn't want to hurt you or what? Tim interrupted, his voice strained. Or let me have a say in my child's life. I was a fool, Jane, but you didn't have to shut me out completely. Didn't I? She said, her voice quivering. You really want to talk about fooling around? Because you made your choice when you walked out. The money was only meant to be a safety net for Lily. A way to protect her future. I did what I thought was right. At that, Tim clenched his jaw and stepped back, his face darkening with anger. And now? What if it's not enough? What if I can't be a part of her life but want to help? Is that you trying to say you'll take care of her? Jane shot back, her emotions boiling over. Just where were you when we needed you? This isn't just about money, Tim. There was a painful silence that stretched like the horizon, filled with unsaid words and regret. Lily's small voice broke through the tension. Dad, why didn't you want to be with us? Tim looked at Lily, eyes overflowing with guilt and longing. I was lost, sweetheart. No other way to explain it. But it's different now. I want to try to be a part of your life. Can you really? Lily's voice was quiet, the disappointment almost palpable. Or is this just another promise? The air in the room felt charged. Jane could almost feel her resolve waver under the weight of Lily's gaze. What if Tim's intentions were real? What if he genuinely wanted to mend fences? Suddenly, the lights flickered, and a crack of thunder rumbled in the distance. Jane closed her eyes for a moment, composing herself again. The money, it was set up as a trust, yes, but there's more to it. This isn't just about finances. It's about forgiveness, and choices that will bind us together or tear us apart. What do you mean? Tim asked, confusion etching deeper into his features. The truth is intertwined with our choices. This trust could fracture us or unite us. But behind it all, I've kept a secret, one that involves something far deeper than money. Tim raised an eyebrow, tension clouding the moment. What is it, Jane? Jane opened her mouth to respond, knowing full well that every breath she took could shatter something precious. But the storm outside raged on, a relentless reminder that perhaps the tempest within them was only beginning, and with that realization came a question that tugged at her heart. Could revealing everything also be the healing they so desperately needed? As she gathered her thoughts, she realized that whatever she said next would set the course for their future together or apart. What was she willing to sacrifice to keep her family whole? Jane took a deep breath as the storm rattled the windows again, the sound echoing her racing heart. Tim's eyes were fixed on her, filled with anticipation and anxiety, as if she were holding every answer they had been searching for in her trembling hands. Lily's gaze darted between them, innocence mixed with unease, a child thrust into the whirlwind of adult pain. "Okay, here it is," Jane said, her voice steadier than she felt. "The trust isn't just about money. It was created with a purpose, a promise I made to your grandmother. There are conditions attached to it. If I don't fulfill them, the money won't be there for you, Lily." "What kind of conditions?" Lily asked, her curiosity now mingling with apprehension. She looked at her daughter, wishing she could shield her from the gravity of what she was about to unveil. But the truth felt like a tightly wound spring, begging to be released. "It's about our family, about forgiveness and coming together. If I can't find a way to work through all of this with your father, it'll all fall apart." Tim stepped forward. "So, if we don't sort out our mess, she doesn't get anything? That doesn't seem fair, Jane." "I know," Jane said, the guilt swirling within her like the storm outside. "But it's how it was set up. Your mom believed that it would ensure we faced our issues together. Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" Tim demanded, a storm brewing in his own voice. "Instead, you kept me out in the cold, blaming everything on me. I thought it was best. Just like you thought leaving was best." The words spilled out, raw and unrefined. A silence fell, thick and heavy. Lily's gaze shifted to the floor, picking at the seams of her sweater, seeking comfort in the fabric. Jane's heart broke a bit more at the sight. She wanted so desperately to shield her daughter from this turmoil. But the truth had a way of creeping in, no matter what. "Lily, listen," Tim said softly, kneeling beside her. "I know I've made mistakes. I can't change the past, but I want to be here for you now. Not just because of the money, but because you deserve to have both your parents." "But what does that even mean?" Lily's voice trembled. "Does it mean you'll really be around? Or are you just saying what you think I want to hear?" In that moment it struck Jane like a bolt of lightning. Her daughter wasn't just responding to her father. She was echoing Jane's own fears. Would Tim really stay? Would his desire to be a father last? Or would it fade like the shadows of their past? "Lily," Jane said gently, kneeling next to her, "we'll figure this out, I promise. You're the most important thing to me," and this she motioned between them. "It's about us moving forward together." Tim looked at her, uncertainty mingling with a flicker of hope. "I want to be part of that moving forward, Jane. I want to prove it to you both." A flicker of doubt still lingered in Jane's mind. What if this was just a moment of resolve, an illusion of reconciliation? For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of possibility, but it was laced with apprehension. "I don't want promises that can easily break," she murmured, eyes locking onto Tim's. "We need to be honest even if the truth hurts." Tim swallowed hard, the storm outside mirroring the tumult inside him. "So what's next? How do we take that first step?" For a moment the world fell silent as Jane considered their crossroads, so many bonds to mend, so many wounds still fresh. "I think we need to meet the terms of the trust," she said, her voice unwavering this time. "We face our past and maybe, just maybe, we can build something new." But as she spoke, a nagging worry twisted in her gut. Could they really do it? Could they truly set aside the bitterness and regrets weighing them down and embrace this new chapter? In the midst of a chaotic storm, perhaps they could find the calm they desperately sought. "Whatever happens next will determine our future," Jane whispered, hoping the words were more than just an empty promise. And then, just as she feared another storm loomed on the horizon, a thought crept into her mind. What if the revelations they uncovered contained secrets that could change everything? Jane glanced out the window, the rain cascading down like tears shed for years of pain. The world outside was a blurry mess, yet inside, she felt a weight shift. Tim was still on his knees, Lily nestled close beside him, and for a moment, the tension felt almost manageable. "We need to start somewhere," Jane said, drawing in a shaky breath. "We owe it to Lily and to ourselves. Tim nodded slowly, still wrestling with the gravity of the moment. So we talk. Really talk. About everything. Lily's eyes lit up with the slightest spark of hope, but Jane could see the hesitation buried deep within her soul. What if talking isn't enough? Her expression seemed to scream silently. Let us start with the basics, Jane suggested. What happened, Tim? Why did you leave? Tim shifted, and his eyes clouded with memories he had fought hard to bury. I thought I was doing what was best for us. I thought it was temporary. Needed time to think. The reticence in his voice clawed at Jane's heart. No, that's not true. You left without saying goodbye. The pain in Jane's voice cut through the stillness. You turned your back and left me to pick up the pieces. I was scared. He burst out, rising to his feet, frustration mingling with regret. I didn't want to admit that I didn't know how to be what you needed. So I ran. Lily's small hand reached up, grasping Tim's. You should have told me how you felt. I wanted to know, she said, her voice trembling but brave. Tim's face fell, realizing how his decision had shattered their family. Another silence settled, heavy as lead, but inside it was filled with the crackling energy of a relationship on the verge of transformation. Maybe we didn't know how to communicate, Jane said softly, squeezing Lily's shoulder. But keeping all this silence hasn't helped either of us. We have to try now. Tim looked at Jane, a flicker of guilt sparking in his blue eyes. I want to. If we're really going to try and make this work, I need to know everything. About the trust, the conditions, the secrets. A snarl of anxiety twisted in Jane's stomach. This was at the moment of truth. There's something I haven't told you, Tim. Something about the trust that I forgot to mention. Lily perked up, eyes wide. What is it? Can you just tell us? Jane hesitated, feeling a lump in her throat. There's a clause. If we can't show that we've made genuine progress in reconciling our family, the funds will be put towards programs that help those in need instead. Tim's brow furrowed. You mean all this time the money could depend on our success in this? Yes, I think your mom wanted to ensure that we didn't get distracted by wealth, Jane continued, but instead focused on what truly mattered, building a family. Tim's expression softened. So we have to work through our old wounds to secure Lily's future? Jane nodded, swallowing the mixture of fear and resolve. The path wouldn't be easy, but perhaps it could be worth it. Then we need to decide if we're both all in, Tim declared, determination kindling in his voice. What do you mean? Jane asked, feeling her heart race. Are we both committed to this? Can we truly embrace our past and work towards something new? That's what we will have to see, Jane whispered. But deep within her, uncertainty clawed and gnawed. Within the peace of the storm's eye, dark clouds were lurking. What secrets from the past would they unearth that could ruin any chance of healing they had left? As Jane gazed into Tim's eyes, she wondered, could they handle the truth of what lay ahead? Would it bring them closer, or tear them apart once more? Tim took a deep breath, the air thick with a mix of hope and dread. Then let us not tiptoe around anymore. What else is there? His determination reverberated in the small room, cutting through the tension like a hot knife through butter. Jane felt the heat rising in her cheeks. Tim, it's not just about the money. Her heart pounded, and she could feel the weight of her unspoken truths pressing down on her. There are things about my past, things that shaped me into who I am today. Lily sensed the abrupt shift in the atmosphere. The delicate hope that had sparked in her eyes dimmed slightly. Mom, it's okay. We just need to be honest. Jane nodded, steeling herself. When I was younger, I made some choices I'm not proud of. It's not just about you leaving, Tim. I made mistakes too. Ones that nearly cost me everything. What do you mean? Tim asked, concern flooding his expression. There were times before Lily was born when I was lost, when I didn't know how to navigate the world. I found myself in situations that made me question everything, my values, my worth, even my future. Each word felt heavier than the last. Tim swallowed. His eyes widened as he tried to comprehend. You mean, what exactly happened? Lily shifted in her mother's embrace, her little hands clenching tightly as she absorbed the gravity of the moment. I was involved in a relationship that took me down a dark path, a man who didn't treat me well. I thought I could change him. I lost myself trying to make things right, and when I hit rock bottom, I realized that I needed to escape. Jane's voice broke and she caught a glimpse of Tim's face, the emotional turmoil battling within him. This confession was a fresh wound, but also a chance to heal deep-rooted scars. But you're here now, Jane, Tim said softly. You found a way out. Yes, but at what cost? She replied, tears pooling in her eyes. I never wanted to drag you into my mess. After I left that life behind, I was terrified of bringing that chaos into our family. I became someone I thought was solid, but I was just hiding. Lily looked between them, her small brow furrowed. Mom, do you think this is why things changed between us? Jane let out a shaky breath, feeling the vulnerability seep in. Perhaps. Maybe I kept my past too locked away, and it affected how I connected with you both. I was trying to protect us, but instead I only created more distance. Tim was quiet for a moment, processing her words. I didn't know any of this. If I had, maybe I could understood your struggles better. A silence fell, but this one felt different. It wasn't the weight of unsaid words. It was a bridge being built, a willingness to embrace their truths. You're both so important to me, Jane murmured, her throat dry. I'm terrified that if I share more, it will push you away. Maybe it won't, Lily interjected, her voice firm. We can figure things out. Together. Tim reached over and took Jane's hand, squeezing it gently. We don't have to pretend anymore. It's going to be hard, but I don't want to just be here physically. I want to be here emotionally. Then let us be here. Jane felt a flicker of hope igniting in her chest. Let us unearth everything together. As the rain continued to hammer against the windows, they all sensed the storm within them turning. But even as they opened up, Jane couldn't shake the anxiety that gripped her heart. What other secrets lay beneath the surface? Would unveiling them strengthen their bond? Or would the ripples of the past pull them under once more? Maybe it's time for us to confront the demons we've been avoiding, she whispered, hanging on to the words as the storm outside grew fiercer. Tim met her gaze, a look of resolve settling in. Then let us confront them together. Just then, a sharp knock interrupted the moment, sending a shiver of dread through Jane. Who could it be? What could they uncover next? The knock echoed like thunder in the cramped room, reverberating off the walls and drawing a collective breath from the trio. Jane's heart raced as uncertainty wrapped around her like a vice. Was it the past crashing through the door? Or something else entirely? Tim stood up, muscles tense and eyes alert. I'll check, he said, moving cautiously toward the door. The quiet raindrops drummed against the window, the only sound accompanying the heightened anticipation. Jane couldn't help but feel like she was holding her breath, her past and present colliding suddenly in this moment. Lily remained seated on the couch, her tiny form curled up with apprehension. Mom, what if it's someone from before? She asked, voice trembling slightly. Jane could see the fear reflected in her daughter's eyes, the unease of opening up those hidden doors too wide. It could be someone from the neighborhood, Lily, Jane reassured her, though her heart beat faster than her words. We've met lots of people since we moved here. Not everyone knows all of it. Maybe it's nothing. Tim's hand hovered over the doorknob, and he glanced back at Jane, searching for her confidence. She nodded, urging him forward. Slowly he opened the door. Jane held her breath as the door creaked. Standing in the rain stood a figure Jane recognized immediately, a woman with an all-too-familiar face. The surprise rippled through the room like an electric jolt. Kara? Jane whispered, half astonished, half terrified. What are you doing here? Tim stepped back, confusion spreading across his features. Do you know her? Jane couldn't summon the right words. Memories flooded back, dark nights, heated arguments, and an unending cycle of pain. Kara had been her closest friend, but also a reminder of a life Jane desperately wanted to forget. I didn't know you were back in town, Jane managed to say, her voice steady yet strained. I just got in, Kara replied, shaking raindrops from her hair. I tried to find you before, but she hesitated, glancing at Tim and Lily. I didn't want to bring up old ghosts. Why now? Jane's pulse quickened. Kara stepped inside, her expression serious. I think it's important we talk. There's something about your past that still needs to be addressed, something you might not know. Tim exchanged an uneasy look with Jane. The weight of her past, buried and hidden, felt ready to erupt. Do you really want to do this now? He asked quietly, protecting Jane's fragile heart even as curiosity burned in his eyes. Maybe it's time, Kara said softly. You need to hear this, Jane. And it could change everything. Again. Lily's small voice broke through the tension. Mom, who is she? What does she mean? The innocence in her question pierced through Jane like an arrow, revealing how much of this journey she had shielded her daughter from. Kara met Lily's gaze, sadness shadowing her face. There are secrets about your mother's past that you don't know. Secrets that might explain why things have been hard for all of you. Secrets? Tim echoed, his brow furrowing with concern. Jane felt the walls close in. Would this open another can of worms she wasn't ready to face? What are you talking about, Kara? Jane said, her voice strained and desperate. Kara took a deep breath. Then with a glance at Lily and Tim she said, this isn't just about you anymore. This is about your family and what they deserve to know. It's bigger than all of us. As the revelation hung in the air, Jane's heart thudded painfully. The rain continued to fall, mirroring the storm brewing within her. With each moment, the weight of the unknown grew heavier. Tim squeezed her hand, grounding her. Whatever it is, we will handle it, he promised softly. But could they really? Will you trust me, Jane? Kara asked, her eyes earnest. If you want your family to heal, it's time to face everything. Once and for all. As Jane searched for her voice, the room felt impossibly small, each ticking second hinting at the truth looming just beyond the surface. Secrets, regret, and a past that could shatter them all again. Would she take the plunge into realization? What would happen when the truth was finally pulled from the shadows? The air was thick with tension, a curtain drawn tight around them. Jane felt like she was drowning in uncertainty. How had her life come to this? The comfort of her new home now felt tainted by the weight of her past. Tell us, she said, forcing her voice to be steady. What do you mean there are secrets? What's going on? Kara shifted uncomfortably, her gaze darting between Jane and Lily. It's not just about your history, Jane. It's about your family's future. When I left town years ago, I took something important with me, something that could change everything for you and Lily. What do you mean? Tim interjected, his protective nature flaring. What kind of thing? Kara took a deep breath, as if gathering the strength to face the storm. Your father wasn't he who you thought he was. There are things he kept hidden. Things that tie into the way things ended between us and how they might impact Lily now. Jane felt a surge of disbelief. Her father, a quiet man who worked hard and stayed out of trouble? The thought tore at her, yet a nagging whisper in her gut told her that there were truths she hadn't faced. What are you talking about? Kara held Jane's gaze. He was involved in something dangerous. I didn't know the extent until it was too late. When he passed, I thought it was behind us, but something surfaced and you need to know before it finds you. Jane's hands trembled. What kind of danger? Give me something real, Kara. This feels like a movie plot. Tim stood closer to Jane, his presence a sense of security. You don't have to tell us everything right now. We can talk it through, figure it out together. Kara nodded, but her expression remained solemn. I wouldn't have come back unless it was serious. There's a chance that Lily could be pulled into it. If people find out about the past. Lily shifted on the couch, visibly confused. Mom, what are you not telling me? Jane squeezed her daughter's hand, but her mind raced. How could she shield Lily from this? The fear of dragging her daughter into the darkness of an unknown past consumed her. It's okay, sweetheart, Jane murmured, glancing at Tim for reassurance. We just need a moment to figure this out. Lily drew in a breath, her small face etched with worry. I want to know the truth. Please. Kara's brow furrowed, torn between revealing the secrets and protecting their innocence. It's about your heritage, Jane, and what your father was involved in could be coming closer or even to a head. You might be the only one who can help stop it. What do you mean? Jane's voice was barely a whisper now, the weight of possibility crashing over her like waves in a turbulent sea. Kara stepped forward, eyes glistening with intensity. There's a group after something. He had a piece of information that could be worth millions, and it extends into other lives too. Lives like Lily's. Fear engulfed Jane, coiling around her heart. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about her daughter too. Then we can't let it reach her. Exactly, Kara replied, her voice low and urgent. But I'm afraid that means you have to confront your father's connections. You might have to face ghosts I thought you left behind. Silence fell, thick and heavy. Jane felt the walls of her life closing in around her, squeezing out breath and comfort. Can we protect Lily without knowing? Tim whispered, pulling her closer. What are we going to do? The question hung in the air like an ominous cloud. Jane's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to comprehend the gravity of what lay ahead. Trust me, Kara urged, her eyes shining with a mix of fear and determination. But if we're going to move forward, it needs to be now. Jane paused, a rush of thoughts and emotions colliding. She looked at her daughter, then at Tim and back at Kara. The weight of the decision felt like a lead ball in her stomach. All right, she said finally, voice steady despite the turbulence inside. If facing this will protect Lily, then let us do it. But we do it together. The rain continued to patter against the window, a haunting melody to the heavy silence. They prepared to dive back into the murky waters of Jane's past. Each heartbeat reminded her of the stakes involved, amplifying the urgency to confront the unknown. But as she settled into her decision, a new fear bubbled within her. What if confronting this past brought more harm than healing? What truths awaited them in the shadows? The air in the room felt electric as Jane's heart steadied in synchrony with her resolve. Tim's hand tightened around hers, a silent affirmation of their commitment to face the darkness together. Together, she repeated softly, a mantra against the swirling storm of uncertainty. Lily, observing her mother's face, nodded with determination. Okay, let us do this, Kara said, her voice steadying. I'll help you navigate through everything. Just take it one step at a time. Steeling herself for the journey ahead, Jane took a deep breath. What do we need to do first? Kara led them to the dining room table, its surface now cluttered with papers and remnants of a life they were all trying to piece back together. She spread out old newspaper articles related to Jane's father, a series of reports on a controversial corporation, money laundering accusations, and incriminating details that felt like daggers to Jane's heart. He was involved in so much more than you realize. This is why I thought you should know, Kara explained. There are people who might still be looking for him or you. Us, Tim corrected quietly, the weight of their situation dawning on him. Lily peered over the table, eyes darting nervously between the articles and her parents. What does this mean for us? It means we have to be cautious, Jane said, feeling the flicker of fear igniting in her chest. We have to protect you, Lily, no matter what. Tim took a step closer to Lily, crouching beside her. If they're looking for your mom or us, it makes all of us targets. But we're not going to let fear overtake us. We'll be smart. We'll fight this. What could have felt like a black hole of despair instead sparked a strange clarity. The remnants of anger from the past simmered but transitioned into motivation. Kara glanced at Jane, an understanding passing between them. Facing your father's past means dismantling the structures that could affect your family. And it starts with you, Jane. Jane's resolve hardened like steel. Then we'll break those structures. I want to ensure Lily has a safe future. And that means confronting my father's legacy head-on. Kara nodded, urgency flashing in her eyes. We need to gather whatever information we can. I'll help you find out who's still involved. You may think it's all gone, but old ties run deep. This could put you and Lily at risk. Jane could feel the shadows of her past overlapping with the present. I've run from this for too long. If my father's choices put us in danger, I refuse to let them define us. We will rise above. Lily's hand drew closer to Jane's. We'll face this, right? Together? Absolutely, Tim reassured, standing tall. We're a family, and that means fighting through the hard stuff together. Soon they started strategizing, poring through documents, piecing together connections, forming a web that illuminated the present. The past may have haunted Jane, but they would not let it dictate her or Lily's future. The sunlight began to peek through the clouds outside, casting a warm glow over the table as their collective determination began to shine bright. Hours melted into night as they worked, laughter mixed with tears, conversation flowing easier than before, each moment transformed by the power of honesty and collaboration. They were no longer bound by fear. They were empowered by love. As they wrapped up for the night, Jane felt exhausted but alive. This is a new beginning, she said, glancing at her family. No more secrets, no more lies. We are building a future based on trust. A sense of hope painted a rosy hue in Lily's cheeks. And we'll do it together, right? Always, Jane promised, her heart swelling with pride. As they embraced, Jane knew the road ahead would still be treacherous. But this time they were armed with unity, love, and unyielding support for each other. The past could hold its secrets, but they were ready to forge their own path. They could break the cycle of darkness. In that beautiful moment of connection, Jane realized she might have been lost for years, but now as a family they were finally found. They basked in their newfound strength. Jane was sure of one thing. They had gone through the storm and now they would flourish under the light together. And now, dear friends, this is your moment to be part of this journey. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment with your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your thoughts matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation unfold. Together we grow and uplift. Go, go, go.